Hello, Croatian Women's Network. Welcome back. We have a wonderful episode for you today. First off, happy International Women's Day. Sretan vam dan žena. Feliz Dias de Internacional de Mujer. We're so happy to be back with you with one of our winners this year. How is that for good serendipity? I hope you're all keeping safe and well, and that you did something a little special for yourself on Wednesday. I got to spend the day with our incredible laureates of the 2023 Croatian Woman of Influence Award winners. And let me tell you, we have some fabulous stories to share over the next days. We had a wonderful conference, a really well-attended conference, and some really tremendous conversations, some incredible partnerships that have come out of this, and new projects already. These women don't rest on their laurels, and I know none of you do either. So I'm really thrilled to introduce to you Sara Dyson, a Croatian Woman of Influence Award winner 2023 in the category of entrepreneurship. And we love our entrepreneurs. Sara, welcome. I'm really happy to have you with us.
Oh, I'm happy to be with you. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. It's the first podcast we have where we're actually both in the same space.
Really?
Actually, yeah. They're always usually very international. So I'm glad to have you here with me. Sara, you have a very special story. As many of you know, I'm sure you know, and if you don't, you're going to look it up right now. Sara is the founder and the initiator and founder of what's called Expat in Croatia. And I'm sure at some point, if you haven't, you will go and visit her platform to unravel some mystery that includes some horrendous red tape around either citizenship, living in Croatia, visiting Croatia, working for money while you're in Croatia on vacation, being a digital nomad, or any myriad of other things that have to do with that beast that is Croatian administration. Sara, Expat in Croatia. What's interesting is, if anyone's been following this Sara's story, the Gala book is online in all 3 languages, so please have a peek, and Sara's write-up is also in our award winners section. But interestingly, Sara, you received a Croatian Woman of Influence Award. Technically, you are not Croatian.
I am not Croatian.
Tell us about that.
I'm a weirdo who has been fangirling Croatia for 11 years. I don't really know how that happened, if I'm being honest, but it did. I found Croatia just randomly.
Okay.
I was trying to plan a trip to Italy. I've never been. I wanted to eat. And I was doing some research, and I found this dusty blog post somewhere in a corner of the internet. And this American couple had decided to come to Croatia, and they were also thinking about going to Italy, but they came to Croatia instead. And they said they were so glad that they did it because Croatians were nicer, that it was cheaper at the time. This is many years ago now. That the food was better, and that the country was more beautiful. And I was like, what is this paradise you speak of? Like, I didn't know anything about Croatia. I mean, growing up in Texas, our education system is focused on whatever contributed to the creation of America or Texas, and that is it. So I did not know about Croatia. I did not know it existed until I read this. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So in planning for this trip, I was like, okay, well, I'll go 3 days to Croatia and 7 days to Italy. And then it turned into 3 days in Italy and 7 days in Croatia. Wow. And then I didn't go to Italy at all. I only came to Croatia. Yes.
And we got you.
Yes, you got me. You got me. I went to Zagreb, Split, Par, and Splita.
Nice.
And I enjoyed it. But I don't remember having this moment like, oh my God, I have to live here. Right. It wasn't quite like that, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was a really beautiful country, and I had a great time. But then the next year, I really wanted to move back to Europe. I lived in Amsterdam, and I wanted to go back to Amsterdam, but they did not want me. So I came to Croatia. I thought I'd take a chance on this place. Yeah. And if it didn't work out, it'd just be a long vacation, whatever. But then within like 6 months, I just fell in love with it. I was like, I don't want to leave ever. And it's not to say that, I haven't had some obstacles or some challenges. And I had a couple of moments where the government could have made me leave.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Actually, one time they voted on me like it was Survivor.
Oh my.
Yeah. But they allowed me to stay, and now I don't ever have to leave. And it was actually, I just looked this up recently. I bought the domain for Expat in Croatia like 4 months after I got here.
Look at that.
Yeah, so 11 years ago now. And I just wanted to kind of share my experiences with the bureaucracy.
Yes.
There weren't even really sites for tourism in English at that point, but definitely nothing about how to live in Croatia. So I thought I'd put it up, share those experiences, and then it was always a side project for me for like the first 5-6 years. And the more I learned about the Croatian, the more I was fascinated by it. I don't know why I really love reading the law. I really get a kick out of that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm just so curious. I'm a very naturally curious person, and the Croatian government and the way it functions and bureaucracy really fascinates me. And so Expat in Croatia is a way that I can kind of share all those things with everyone else, because information is power.
Yes.
And, you kind of alluded to the bureaucracy being a little tough to deal with.
Sure.
But I believe that when you are educated, you're armed with information,
Yes.
it can make it so much easier and
less frustrating to navigate, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so when I got to was given the opportunity to apply for permanent residence, police said, you need to have a Croatian salary, and I didn't at the time.
Right.
So I kind of got forced into this position where I was like, well, open a company or you need to get out. And I was not going to leave. It was like an over my dead body situation. So I did that. And then I started loaning money to that company just so I could pay my salary. No, like, this is not sustainable. Right. I need to do something with this. And I just never thought of turning Expat Croatia to a business until that moment. And I just kind of took a leap and did it. And now we're here.
Thank God you did.
Yeah, I don't even know how that happened, but yeah, so I'm a giant, to get back to your question, I'm a giant Croatian nerd. I really have such a deep pride for this country I know it's very strange. It probably sounds strange to people who are Croatian, have Croatian blood, that this person with no Croatian blood has such an attachment to Croatia and its culture. Like, even when the national anthem was playing at the gala, like, whenever I hear it, my heart skips a bit, and
You're
makes it odd, but I don't know how to explain it. I just know that this is the place I want to be. This is the place that makes sense for me, and I will do everything in my power to support Croatia in any way that I can.
We love that. We love that. You're definitely one of us. Was there one particular thing, experience, moment that sat with you to say, I'm staying, I'm going to stay here? Was it a whole bunch of things together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes and yes.
Okay.
So yes, there are lots of things, but there is one moment. It's the first moment that it happened in the first 6 months that I lived in Croatia. Okay. So from my perspective, based on my memories, that is the thing that was a turning point for me. And I actually, when I applied for citizenship in July, I had to write my CV biography, just like a cover letter for your citizenship application. And you talk about a variety of things, including why you want this. Right. And I told this story in that letter. But I was walking to the beach one day and I passed this Croatian man, and he had this wicker basket filled with tomatoes, all these homegrown tomatoes, all different sizes, all different colors. And he didn't speak English, and I speak Croatian. So I've been there for like 2 minutes. And he extended it to me, and he wanted me to take some tomatoes. And I was like, what? Well, because I have gotten pushback about this before, but it's true. Like, in the States, at least when I was growing up there, in the 80s and the 90s, and if someone approaches you and tries to give you food, like,
we teach children not to take it.
I was taught my entire childhood not to take strangers, not to take food from strangers. Yeah. So, there is a bit of a culture that, like, your neighbors are your enemies, and you're always suspicious and on edge. Right. And here's this man that does not know me, that I can't verbally communicate with, who doesn't know me from anything. Yeah. Is just passing me on the street and is offering me these tomatoes just because he wants to share them with me. Yeah. Share these beautiful things that he created and he grew. Yeah. And that was so heartwarming to me. Yes. And that was a really big, I wrote a post about it at the time, And it's one of my favorite posts I've ever written called The Kindness of Strangers.
Yes.
I talk about these different moments I have with creations, but that had a big impact on me. So I would have to say if I had to pick one moment,
Right.
that would be the one.
And what a wonderful moment. And what a great example of Croatian hospitality for sure. So you've grown this wonderful experiential blog into a bona fide business, and you now have 11 employees.
10,
Oh,
but-
still 10.
But it's probably going to be 11 within the next 6 weeks because we
Okay.
have our eye on a new candidate for the new role that we're hiring for.
Love
So
it.
I think it'll be 11 soon. Yeah.
So 11 in 11 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty extraordinary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so where do you see the business today as opposed to, I mean, it was kind of a hobby experience to begin with.
Yeah.
And it seems to me, the more information you put out, the more engagement and the more access people look for from you and your
Yes.
organization. You're incredibly well organized. The information is accessible. It's easy to consume. You take annoying, complicated topics and you make them fun and interesting. Where do you go from here for the next decade?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I have no shortage of ideas. I am an idea generator. I exhaust everyone around me, and I'm pretty sure that all of my colleagues get triggered whenever I say like, so I'm thinking.
Oh dear, there's the trigger. Yes,
Yeah,
we're in trouble.
I have no shortage of places where I want to go. And I think there's so many places
Yes.
to go with what we want to do. I mean, yeah, we're focused on bureaucracy, but it's bureaucracy and culture and assimilation.
Yes.
To me, they're all in the same Venn diagram. You know, when you understand the government of a country that you are not from or have not experienced, regardless of whether it's your nationality or not, it helps you understand the entire culture better. You can be part of the system. You know, a lot of foreigners complain that they feel like they're outsiders.
Yes.
But one of the we try to battle that
Mhm, mhm.
to help people. You know, it can be hard to feel like an insider. I don't know that you can ever do that. I don't feel like an outsider, but I don't know that I feel like an insider
Okay.
either. But I do feel like I'm part of the community.
Yes.
So all the projects that we do want to make sure that it works towards that goal while also giving back to the community. So where do we go from here? Well, we have an office in Split. I'd really like to see us have our next office in Zagreb in the next year, maybe.
Okay.
And I'd love to have an office maybe in the street.
Okay.
That's way down the line. I mentioned earlier that we've got a new brand coming, so it's not an Expat and Croatia brand. It's under the umbrella, but it's going to be a completely different brand. And we're starting with, some merchandise. It is so special. And I so wish I could tell you about it, but we're waiting on some things to come through, and so I hesitate to like announce it yet, but it is coming. But that's just to get people's feet wet, just so they can get to know that brand, because there's a really powerful message behind it.
Great.
It's going to be more focused on assimilation.
Okay.
And so there are like 3 more projects under that afterwards.
Excellent.
Where we want to go. And when I say projects, I mean, they're huge.
I bet they
endeavors. I exhaust myself, honestly. So there's that. I will give you a little bit of a taste.
Okay.
So we are going to be creating a membership club.
Nice.
That will go under that new brand.
Okay.
And it's a concept that we've been developing for a long time.
Okay.
It actually had a different name originally. Now it's going to go under this new brand instead. That's as much as I'll say about it. And I really wanted to launch it last year. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I think we'd have to hire an event coordinator to be able to actually do an undertaking like that. We also have some education programs that we're working on in the background. It's very exciting. I think an education arm, I mean, obviously we do education, but different kinds of education, different formats for education. I see us eventually having some kind of, I don't want to say school, but education program with a
Okay.
variety of different things under it.
Excellent.
So I definitely want to go that direction. I really would love to work with the government in some kind of official capacity.
Sure.
I mean, we're definitely on the government's radar now in a pot. Oh, I don't know how much we are, but we've seen signs this past year and it's all been really positive. But I would love to work with them in an official capacity. I don't know what that would look like, but I would really like that to happen.
Well, you just put it out into the universe, so it will be manifest.
I
We
hope
believe
so.
that everything else has been.
I hope so.
Sarah, I don't know when you sleep, frankly, but
I don't know either.
when you have just free time, what do you like to do? What's your go-to rest place or experience?
Well, I will be honest about the kind of job that I do and having this kind of business and the fact that I'm, the face of what we do. There's a lot of blurred lines. So sure, one of the challenges I do have with this job is that I don't have a whole lot of private time. And I don't have a whole lot of separation from it. And I think eventually down the line, one of the goals I have is finding a way to build that kind of separation. As we build the team and more gets taken off my plate and delegated, it opens more room for that. I'm happy to do it because I love what I do and I'm really obsessed with what I do. But I'm human. I mean, most of the time I'm 90% machine, but I'm 10% human.
Okay.
Yeah. Hobbies. That's what I was saying. Can I tell you a quick anecdote? Okay. So last year after I applied for citizenship, a police officer came to my house to do like a surprise interview. Which I wasn't expecting, but in hindsight, I should have expected. I guess because I'm predominantly working with people applying for citizenship abroad. And so it just didn't occur to me for some reason. Anyway, so he's in the living room and he's asking me these questions. And one of the questions he asked me is, what are your hobbies? And I was like, hobbies? I don't have any hobbies. I like work is my whole life. And that was clearly not the right answer. Anyways, I'd say like something that I really love doing is putting on my headphones, listening to a playlist and walking around Split. There is this one neighborhood in Split that I love. It's called Split 3. It was built in the 70s and it was so under Yugoslavia, and it was this master planned community, giant neighborhood. So it has very specific architecture, and I love it. And those communities in Split built around that time in like the 60s and 70s, they're built with this community focus. Yes. So there's most of it's pedestrian. It's built around schools and these kind of open spaces with benches and places that people can sit and talk and interact. There's all these little passageways and cafe bars built in, and I can get lost in there for hours. I was walking through there with a friend of mine recently who also has a great deal of affection for that neighborhood. And we were up there. Oh, wow. Yeah. So he was taking me around. He was like, see, look how these two buildings like point at each other and at this angle with the sun and everything. Oh, wow. And we were just totally talking about that. So I love to go on walks. I love to write. I consider myself to be a writer first, honestly. So I don't get to write much, not as much as I used to. And so when I get an opportunity to kind of free write, I really like doing that. Long coffees, because that's just kind of course. If you're not up for long coffee, you should not be in this country. That's true. This is not the place for you. True. So I see those things. I used to cook a lot, but I've been trying to get back to it because I kind of lost that part of me for a while. And now I'm trying to get back to this. So I made a very delicious cardamom cake recently that I'm quite proud of. So yeah, those are the things I do.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. So when we're on the topic of food, our viewers will know always a favorite topic. Favorite food in Croatia.
Poduzetništvo.
Love it. Have you ever made it at home?
I made it once. It wasn't great.
Okay, but you made it. Good on you.
I did. But I've been wanting to find some time to refine the recipe. Yeah. I love taking recipes and then refining and refining and refining. Okay. But my favorite poduzetništvo in the whole wide world is at Krilo Winery, which is out near Chile. Okay. The winemaker's wife. She makes the perfect poduzetništvo. Okay. It has it's very dark sauce, black because of the red wine that she put into it. Because not a lot of poduzettavas have a lot of wine in the sauce. They need it. They absolutely need it. So good.
Well, we're gonna have to look that one up, but you know, practice makes progress, so
Yes,
it's all good.
I will get there.
You will.
I actually, when I was in Istria on my holidays in November, I wrote my Croatian cookbook in like an afternoon. Of course you did. Yeah, because I'm at 90% machine. And that is in there. So eventually I have to refine it enough.
That's why she got me for being a woman. She apparently does everything. Wow. Favorite dessert? Croatian dessert? Anybody?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, trying to think. I don't know if I have one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well, this isn't Croatian though, but it is everywhere.
Okay.
But tiramisu is
Oh, yes.
probably my favorite dessert. I really, really love it.
Yes.
Yeah, generally speaking, it's not Croatian, but it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And the ones I love is at Stari Podrum in Istria, which is my favorite
Stari
restaurant.
Podrum. Oh,
Have you been
yes. I've heard about it. I've never yet been.
It's my favorite restaurant on the face of this earth.
Okay.
Oh, like everywhere.
Okay, good to know.
Yes, and their tiramisu is excellent. The tiramisu at Devor in Split is also excellent. The tiramisu at Villa Spisa in Split is very, very good as well. Those are my
I
favorites.
love that we're going to someday have a tour of tiramisu in Split or somewhere else.
Yes,
So that's important. So we'll have to plan that someday.
yes, I'm okay with that.
Excellent. Well, listen, you have just come out of our International Women's Day events over the last few days, this week, let's call it. How are you feeling? How does it feel to be amongst the winner's circle? What does the award mean to you? Give us your thoughts, although you might still not have had a chance to take it all in.
I haven't taken it all in. You know, we talked a little bit about this, you know, off camera, but I was very shocked when you reached out to me about it last fall, and I didn't know quite what to think about it, you know. And then when Terry called me, because I was on holiday when you reached out and said that, she was like, Sarah, you need to call me as soon as possible.
You're thinking the business is falling apart.
So what happened?
Right.
But no, I called her. I was in Italy and she told me, and I was like, I don't know, deer in headlights. And I didn't, I told a few people, I just didn't know what to think about it. I did have imposter syndrome a lot, like a lot. And I think that's partly because I've just kind of had that my whole life for a variety of reasons that are probably way too much for right now. But, you know, I have a habit of not giving myself credit for things, you know? So that is tough. And I think that there's this added layer because it is a Croatian Women of Influence award, and I am not Croatian. And, you know, given my very, very deep connection to the kind of personal connection to the country, you know, that is a little weird for me because I have this pride, but I would never call myself Croatian. I don't feel like that's something that I can say. So to be, you know, included in the company of all of these Croatian women, this award that's made for Croatian women when I'm not a Croatian woman, it also felt like, are you really sure? Because this feels like it might be insulting to the other winners. Like that thought went through my head.
Okay.
You know, even when I was standing behind the Croatian flag on Wednesday, I was like, I mean, she had me listed as like the Croatian groups. I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be, but really? Like, and I don't know. I felt so and please, I hope this doesn't sound like a lack of appreciation. Not isn't, because
It's a fair statement.
you know, I mean, you feelings are feelings.
Yes.
And it's I am completely overwhelmed by it. I'm still really processing it. And when at the awards ceremony, like when the gentleman was like introducing me, and I mean, first I had the double take because the
a big picture of Sarah.
But at the very end, like the last thing that he said, he's like, despite being from the United States, we can now say that Sarah is a bona fide Croatian from Croatia. And my heart skipped, and I was like, did you really see that?
Yes,
Like,
he did.
in this room like full of Croatians, and then when people were cheering, and I was like, really? Me? And then I came off stage and there was this Croatian couple. One of them
Yes.
was a winner and they like
Yes.
got up out of their seats to shake
Yes.
my hand. And I was like,
She was so proud of you.
really? And it's still like, even though there's all this evidence in front of
Yes.
me, you know, my silly brain just still is like, are you sure? I feel like there's been a mistake.
Not at all.
But no, I was looking at the award when I was working, you know, the day after and on Thursday, and I was just like, wow, this is so cool. It really is. I'm so excited about it. So I think it's going to take some time for me to really like absorb it, but that's a privilege. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do. We don't give these awards out lightly, that's for sure, as many of our nominees know. But we look for women who are really making an impact, who love Croatia, and who show that in all they do. In addition to their professional work, not all of our winners get the privilege of promoting Croatia in their day-to-day lives. And so sometimes it ends up being that secondary job, and you get the opportunity to do it every day as part of your everyday work, which is really extraordinary. It has a wonderful impact. And that's what we're looking for in our winners, are women who are the pride of Croatia and who are making a difference in their communities and are having a real impact on their countries, in fact, and are some, you know, we have this great phrase in Croatian and this kulturno blago, and it's this cultural treasure, as we say. And I really feel that all of our Croatian Women of Influence winners are just that. And that's why we exist at the Croatian Women's Network, to take the time to first find them, shine a light on them, to connect them with all of our Croatian Women's Network members, but also then to support and celebrate women, because listen, let's face it, we don't get celebrated enough, and life is not always kind to women, so we should be kind to each other, and we should always be supporting each other. So I thank you all for participating in that, and we thank Sara for her contribution to raising awareness about Croatia and being positive about Croatia and doing what's really hard for us Croatians to do sometimes, and that is tell a good story about Croatia. So that's really inspirational, and that's really monumental. So we love that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Couple of rapid fire questions here, Matt,
All right.
for us to get to know you. What's the last thing you Googled? Don't think twice about it. Last thing you Googled.
The brunch place I went to have breakfast with our 10th employee this morning.
Excellent. Okay. What book are you reading right now? What's on your nightstand?
Oh, I'm reading a couple of books, actually. I usually read several books at one
I
time.
love that.
Yes, because I kind of bounce around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading a new book called, I think it's a Creative Way, maybe, by Rick Rubin, the music producer.
Oh,
He
okay.
just put that out. That's brand new.
Nice.
I'm also reading the not 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's the other one. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yes, I'm reading that as well. And I'm reading a book by Edith Wharton. I can't remember the name of it. The House of Mirth.
Okay, I just saw that at the airport coming in.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, excellent. Where's the last place you traveled to?
London.
Nice. Okay, where's the next place you're gonna travel to?
Well, Texas
Okay,
next week.
excellent. Okay, very good. Parting words, advice for the future. Thoughts for any up and coming entrepreneurs?
As far as entrepreneurship, go for it. Seriously, like, you know, what's the worst that's going to happen? You know, I mean, there's all these baby steps that you take
Yes.
to becoming an entrepreneur. It's not like you're like,
It's
okay,
overnight.
It's not overnight.
It's the 20-year overnight success story, right?
Right. You know, I mean, even if you're opening up a restaurant, you know, which is an intense proposition.
Yes.
I admire anyone who's going
Mm.
to dive into that. But you don't just say, oh, I'm going to open a restaurant. The next day you have restaurant employees and you
That's
have all this
correct.
burden. Like, you have to do all these steps. So you can always get 10 steps in and be like, you know what? I don't think this is the right move.
And that's okay.
And then you can switch gears. I've had business failures. This is not my first business. You know, I've had a number of businesses before this, and
Okay.
some did well,
Okay.
not sustainable enough to where I could have employees and grow it like
Right.
Expat Croatia, but
Mhm.
I had some that did well. I had some that failed.
But you learned a lot along the way.
I learned tons, but you have to get started. You have to actually make
Yes.
that jump. And that is really exciting. And once you build something that,
Yeah.
you know, actually, like when people decide they're going to pay you for something, it's like,
Wow.
oh my God, really? Are you sure? Can I talk you out of something?
Except no man would ever say that. Sorry to say,
No,
folks,
they
no
wouldn't.
man would ever say, are you really sure you want to hire me and pay me? Yeah, only we women ask ourselves these questions.
It's so ridiculous. I really hope that at some point we evolve to where that's not part of our
Yes.
DNA anymore.
I agree. That would be a great mission. It's a great challenge for all of us.
Yeah, it really is. Entrepreneurship is the greatest thing ever. I know I'm not saying that everyone should do it, because not everyone should do it. Some
Correct.
people don't want to do that.
Correct?
And they're very
Some people
happy.
shouldn't do that.
Yeah, some people are really happy, you know, working for somebody else.
Yeah.
And creating something beautiful in their role.
Yes.
And that's great.
Yeah.
I personally am best suited to this. I cannot imagine going backwards to work for somebody else. I'm not gonna say I have problems with authority, but I do have a problem with being told what to do.
Fair enough. Well, there you have it, folks. Sarah, thank you so much for being with us and giving us a little bit of an insight into you and your world. We love getting to know you, and congratulations again on your award. And we wish you tons of future success, which we know you are going to have. And listeners, you will get a chance to see Sarah. We'll have some clips about the gala, about the conference. There's tons of photos on the website. Please have a look through. If you have any questions, throw a note to Sarah. She'll be more than happy and her team to help you out. And we wish you a wonderful rest of week and weekend. And until next time, be well, stay safe, be kind to each other. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye. Vidimase.